The topic for today is, do you believe that marriage is outdated? How have your views changed on this tradition over the years?
Me first. Hell no. Nope. I am getting. I don't care what this generation says. I am getting married. Marriage is still a thing.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm in the room just pulling on the sheet.
It is outdated.
Why?
Because really and truly, like it's one of those like social norms. Like, why is it a must?
It's not a must. It's
What's your reason of not getting married?
Well, you see,
You can ask what's the reason to get married though.
yeah. What's the reason? Same thing.
Because
it's a commitment of you and your spouse or your partner before God. And if you following all your principles of
But you're opening a can of worms. There.
yeah, you did.
She's saying she opinion.
Yeah.
Like for her, if it's
Yeah,
religion,
no,
it's
continue.
religion.
Continue.
I'd like. Go ahead.
So for me, I base all of my facts on my religion. So for me, I don't believe that we should be shacking up, if that's the case, without being married. That's just me. So I'm not about to say I'm gonna have a child with someone or live with them if I'm not married.
Security.
Yeah.
Bing.
And that's totally respectable. Like as far as religion goes, like that's a lot. That's the motivation for a lot of people. But I'll speak on behalf of millennial men who have this perspective. It's more of a legal obligation. So we're going to talk in terms of prenuptial agreements.
Okay.
A lot of women who want marriage, if it's such this big bond before God, why like? How do you feel about signing a prenuptial agreement?
I would sign it because I don't have all the money in my relationship anyway.
I would sign
This is
it.
the first time I'm hearing this response.
I gonna
But-
have the money.
Because for me, not to be disrespectful or anything, but like some women only get married thinking about what they can get out of it or whatever. But for me, not to disrespect single mothers or anything like that, I don't understand how women and men can be like frivolous about having kids, but don't get married.
In my opinion, right, I don't understand where the security has come from out of marriage. So.
No,
It's
because
hard
it's more of you making this.
It's you heard what you said.
Yeah, what you just
harder for
said,
you to
right?
Leave someone.
Yeah, that's a
when you get
legal
married.
aspect,
You know
not
how
even in-
you can imagine the amount of mental strain you putting yourself through, having to forcing yourself to stay with
It's
this
not
person you are
forcing
unhappy
you
with.
stay, but sometimes when you have that commitment already, it's easier to just decide, okay, we gotta work for this, especially when you don't have any ties to each other. All is it like, okay, he just died, he blew up bed in your house, and he just be like, okay, I'm leaving. Like there's nothing there to even
But
say like,
even if we could not be married and have a home and a family and all of these things, that would provide the same security you need in a marriage.
Well, I'm speaking for me. I'm
Like speaking
what
outside,
about getting
like
loans and
outside
stuff?
of
What
the
about
shop.
tax? Like I guess
Okay, when
to
you,
me
okay.
it's easier in that
I
sense.
understand
So-
when you speaking of marriage as far as worrying about your financial, the way you set up financially, who claiming who taxes, who can testify against who in court and stuff
But
like
if
that.
I die, we'll get my kids. Like it's
Okay,
easier for my
Pretty sure you could do
husband.
that if common law. You need
So
to.
that's what I was about to say. So not necessarily for finances and tax purposes that you have to be married, because Canada has made it, and everywhere, like in the US, there are common law marriages or whatever. So like I think you can only be married, not common law married, but a year. If you live together, if you could prove that you've been together with this person for a year, you can file for common law marriages. You can file taxes together. So that right there, that I wouldn't agree on my view of why I would say we need to be married.
So, y'all having kids, and I mean, if y'all do decide to have kids, would y'all not be married and have kids?
My thing is, right?
Would you not want your parents? Would you not? I mean, yes, it's still a two-parent home if y'all live in whatever.
The only
You don't
inclination
want-
for me to be married when I have a child is the word bastard, and I don't want that associated with my child. That's
Is that even still a thing in the
Yeah,
States?
yeah,
It is.
yeah.
Bastard. So, but my thing is, right?
It's illegitimate.
Yeah.
I don't even think that's it. Like,
It is.
I have never even thought about that. If your parents are together or not, whether you were conceived out of wedlock or not, that's still your flicking parents. How are you an illegitimate child?
Some dudes don't
I
treat
can understand, like, society, like, that's what they say. Like, society, they already see it now where it's just that, oh, if y'all ain't married, first thing, y'all know the Caribbean sense. Y'all supposed to be having sex or the marriage anyway. Imagine having a child. They ain't judging you, they're judging your child too. Like, oh, your parents ain't even married, or they're judging your whole household. It's just like, I don't feel that we need to get married,
Okay,
right?
think about the way the Caribbean is even set up though. Okay, these most Caribbean marriages, it's a 3-person, it's a love triangle in most Caribbean marriages. That's a love triangle.
There's another can of worms over there.
So I mean, you said you comparing these Caribbean worrying about who is the outside child and things like that. That ain't really adding no validity to
That's
getting
not.
married.
It's so stupid to me. Like in the Caribbean, I don't even think that's in the Bahamas where I've never heard bastard child, ain't none of that. The only thing is if you have a child
Outside child.
your
Outside
relationship,
child.
that's the thing. Oh, you had baby on me or something like that. But the whole if your parents ain't married thing and you were so flicking what? So what? In this day and age, so what? But anyway, back to the marriage thing.
Hold on. Let me just quick segue. It's not so what. It's so easy for you to say so what, but you've never been like just being in an environment with children. Children are monsters, you know.
Yes,
Like they are monsters.
I think it's-
How rude!
What kind of children
That's foxy.
I read a boy in a wheelchair growing up. That's it. I did that.
So let's get back to the point of marriage, not the children.
Like, but then I'm trying to say
But
that's
the children
that's a
are
dynamic.
also-
That's like
yeah.
that's a trickling effect. Like
Okay.
of having a child outside of wedlock, like your child being harassed by other children. That's like a possible
Yeah.
thing that we need to plan for.
Okay.
Right.
Well, for me, I don't think it's outdated. Me being in a relationship, I'm in a relationship with somebody who I could see with for the rest of my life. That don't mean I just would be walking around 35 years old, oh, see my boyfriend.
Honestly. Honestly.
I'm not doing that.
It's obvious to see my wife.
See, I
I'll
look.
see my husband.
Say
The word slightly short. Now you're trying to figure out like the difference.
To me, it means a marriage. To me, just means two people. You know what it is to decide to commit yourself to one person, professing that to other people before.
Yeah, that's true.
Religion doesn't mean some things. Religion doesn't mean things to some people,
union.
but before God, before your family, before your friends, you saying that
Okay.
It's like you supposed to become
I
one.
understand that. I understand if you're speaking from a religious
I need that
standpoint.
security.
No.
I'm not talking about religion. I said outside of religion. I need that security to say that you are going to commit yourself to me for the rest of my life. You decided to join our things as
You
one.
don't think that's
You
a
decide-
false sense of security?
No,
So why do you
it's
not
very
marry?
necessary for me. In me in a relationship right now, I know I have my money. I know he has his money. Yeah, we buy things for each other, but I am not going half on a house with you. I'm not going half on furniture with you. I'm not going half on bills with you unless me and you are married. So
Why?
So you were
I'm not
You're protecting the investment financially. Is
yes,
that why?
that's why I said I would get a prenup. I don't care.
So
don't
you know,
care
I
about
feel
a
like
prenup.
if
you
you're
feel like
protecting your
marriage for
investment
you,
so much,
I want to show you how much I
Alright,
don't
together.
care about money, and that's why I would get the prenup because the marriage isn't about the money for me.
so why wouldn't you
That's
split
it.
a house with him then if the money don't matter?
Because it's I don't want you to feel like the whole if you buy the you buy the milk if you could get the cow for free or something like that. Like what would you have for me to benefit? I don't know if I'm saying this right. Like why if I'm doing all these things with you, if I know marriage is the end goal for me, I'm not living with you outside of marriage because why then do you need to marry me? I'm not having a kid with you outside of marriage because then why would you need to marry me? I know marriage is the end goal for me. For me, let me just put it like that. For me, it is. I'm not shacking up. I'm not walking around. You can imagine yourself at 45 years old. Yeah, that's my girlfriend. We've been together 25 years.
25 years.
Okay.
Okay, you are
say this in the context too.
Why? So outside of money, why wouldn't you get married?
Because I don't understand this false sense of security that marriage gives you guys. It ain't that I so much against marriage, personally. But I don't understand this false sense of security when people just get out of marriage.
Why do you
I
think
can
it's a
think
false sense of
personally-
security? Can you expound on
That's
that?
what I don't understand.
Because you saying you need to get married in order to buy this house and have this child so you can feel
I don't.
comfortable and
Okay, have you
secure
ever
with this
approached
person.
the bank for a loan?
No, I've never.
They don't give loans to common law
No, and-
unions, so it's like it's not a false sense of security.
It's actual
It's
security.
actual. Like we have to understand that in the Caribbean, marriage is more legal obligations than anything else. So it's like when you approach certain institutions, if you are approaching with two salaries in a common law marriage. In a common law union, you don't get as many favors as you get if you are married to the
I
person.
mean, and even
I
the thing about
understand there are a lot of
even
financial
adoption.
perks
But
when
that's
it comes to
security.
getting
Even
married.
It's not,
adoption, if you
it's not
decide-
just perks, it's also cons, like splitting,
That's what it. But
splitting the assets,
if you
taxes,
in-
financially
there's a lot
within
of
yourself, if you
overcomplicated.
secure enough,
In
you
the-
should be able to afford this loan that you're going out for within
Okay,
yourself.
hold on, but I'm
You
saying
need- I mean,
too many things. Like even if abortion, it's abortion. Jesus Christ, adoption.
No.
The word sounded to say my bad. But it's like even with like adoption, if you decide to, if that's the route that you want to go through adoption, you know you can't adopt a child if you're not married.
I did not know.
No, I didn't know.
You can't adopt a child if you're not married.
There are some ways you can, but it's really hard.
Then this brings up the topic of like how outdated, especially in the Caribbean, like things are.
That's what bastard and
that's
all
true.
these things
Things
come
come
from.
from,
These
yeah,
things
very
are illegal. So
Okay,
it's
my
illegitimate children, bastard, all of these things are just legal.
Right. My thing is, I could ask a question: is the problem marriage or is the problem the wedding? Like, we can go, no, careful. Like, we can just go to the courthouse and
I
sign a
hate
piece of
I know
that's that's my problem. Like to me, right? If the idea is that it's marriage, it's supposed to be this whole religious ceremony. Why is there a legal aspect to it? Why does it come before the government? Why isn't it just between me and you? That's my thing.
Why is
you're
life
one,
set up
but
so
to the
unfair for
government,
people
you
to
need to
wait?
say that, hey, this person shares what I
That's my problem with it. Like I just mad that the government would be in type of relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why is that this like before this was not the case though? Like before this was not a thing.
Yeah.
Like when it was just a huh?
When?
I don't know like back in the day. Was it like
Which
oh the
day you
government?
talking about?
Like
Which
religion?
day?
When the government?
Which day?
We'll just Google it.
Yeah.
We'll get present on fact check.
Which day do you think
so
it's so
but no,
high?
I think
That's
he's
what I'm
trying
saying. I
to
don't
say
say, like,
who
you know-
was Adam and Eve's officiants. Because that's where it comes down to. No, like I feel like that's where he's trying to understand.
Your problem is that I
So if God is Adam and Eve officiant, if he's trying to keep
The devil was the lawyer, you see. The apple was the contract. That's where it start from.
At the same time, so if you're looking at marriage from a religious standpoint, it's not only Christianity that recognizes marriage.
Right.
But I want to see it. I can't say
But
like
you don't
personally,
think
right?
you don't think it's oh no sorry finish what you said.
No, I just say like for me it's like bro, I just don't like let's say in terms of let's say our marriage work because I believe like love could literally be in phases. It could be as bright as however for however long it lasts. Let's say it finally come down to that and we decide to split. Why you wouldn't use that as the thing to say oh we can't be together no more? Like I remember the argument was
As you bring up split and you're talking about religion, not to cut you off. When you talk about like you want to get married because like I guess you also for like legal aspects and financial aspects, but then when you talk about the religion too, you have to also recognize the fact that well, if Christianity more so
The only grounds for
Catholics, you
divorce.
can't divorce.
You cannot, like say if you realize, if the person wants to leave, you don't have to say, I don't want you to leave. But if they want to go, you don't hold them. You let them go. If it's like irreconcilable differences, you let them go.
And touching on that, since the only grounds like over time is adultery, it doesn't that track back to the original question? Don't you think the concept is a bit outdated? Does it need to be updated? Does it need to reflect how people have changed over the years?
Facts. I think
What
the
concept,
concept of marriage.
marriage?
So like,
You know why?
for
You know what
grounds
make
for
the-
divorce, for example, like this is just one aspect of marriage that I think is outdated. Like the only grounds for divorce is adultery.
Yeah, like two people
Like-
can be happy together, not cheating on two people can be together, not cheating on each other and still be unhappy.
Yeah.
Right.
You understand?
Like suppose they're sexually incompatible. I mean,
Then
that's-
don't get. They would know that before they're
I
married.
know.
Let's
No,
talk
you're not
Are we
They're
supposed
supposed to
talking
have
about-
sex.
are we talking
They're not
about
supposed to have
just-
sex.
Are we talking about just for religious purposes?
No,
Because
well, that's
if
what-
I'm not religious, then who are we talking to?
I was
We're
just, no,
out.
I was just talking about that specific point because that's
Oh,
what
okay.
Okay,
Okay,
what-
that's all
okay.
you then.
So
I mean,
Go ahead.
the question was if marriage is outdated, but you don't think it's an outdated where you're thinking that you shouldn't be able to qualify for a loan just because you ain't married or you shouldn't be able to
It is outdated.
just because you
I
married.
agree.
I feel like that's unfair to people that aren't able to find their that person for them.
Or some people who
I
just
don't
don't
get-
want to be
right,
married.
yeah.
Like
So
some people who
I
just
don't
want
just
to be
because I'm
single.
not
But
married
people who
don't
are
mean I
single
don't
do get
deserve to have a
loans. No, but
child.
An
Or
unmarried person,
together, no?
But, well,
an unmarried person can be eligible for a loan.
No,
What
I
I'm saying
understand.
is if two people are approaching a bank to get a loan together,
Okay.
Yeah, that's
there
what she
needs
is.
to be
Salaries.
some kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
two salaries, double the assets, the whole is collateral. That's
Exactly.
just a better deal.
So I would agree, marriage is outdated. However, there are still some people that know that it's outdated, but there are some reasons and principles that they still stand for marriage. So not the entire marriage, but the reasons
So
behind.
building on that
some-
point, you think love is a good reason to get married then? Like you marry someone because you love them, or you will marry someone in order to
I think we'll-
progress your relationship forward?
I think love is one
I
of
would-
many variables to get
I
married.
think,
That's just
okay,
a-
hold on. I think the
first
reason for
prerequisite.
marriage is love, and then you have things
I agree with that.
affecting it. Like, why would I get married to you if I don't love you? That has to be the basis of our marriage. is
So,
because I love you.
like how we were
Percentage of
talking
it,
about.
like, how much is
Isn't
that
that
value?
the evolution of the meaning of marriage though? Because before people got married for arranged marriages
Yeah.
Right.
for better status and all of that. So wouldn't love be something that marriage evolved?
Yeah, exactly. Like from
So
this
facts.
day and age, I mean,
And that's
men
crazy.
always
That's
argue that
That is
marriage
crazy.
is only designed for women, But like in this day and age, it was designed for men back then. It was so the man could get babibies so that he could make a
No, even today, even in this day and age, you see a lot more men who married for promotions or able to
Family-wise and
more
job.
because they look more stable when they have a wife and children.
Yeah.
That's I mean,
But
but I
they
don't,
are just more
Even
stable
that
when they
even
have a
came out
wife
in our
and children.
discussion.
what? I don't know though.
It's like when
I
we're
know some
talking
wild married
about
men.
signing prenups, he assumed that it's only women who sign prenups.
Yeah.
I mean, I only asked that because I was speaking from my
No.
perspective. I know it's
I was
biased.
just lending to what he was saying to show
I'm not
how
too well versed, but I know
it goes forward.
Wendy Williams' husband was looking for something too. Right?
But in that
You
case,
started on 50 days.
All they say is that
I understand.
with Oprah,
I
they married for a reason. Oprah ain't giving him that check.
Show you that's why
I
you
understand in
were
that regard
married.
because she was the major breadwinner.
Yeah.
So that he would be looking for spousal support from her. The same way if a man was the breadwinner, the woman would be looking for spousal support. So I understand that in that regard. Like I don't understand this whole thing of marriage is only beneficial for women because. If you only care about the money, sign a prenup.
But
I think that should
feel
take
like you're
away.
talking about
That
the
should take away
minority
75% of it.
But let me show you something, right? Legally speaking, prenups don't always stand. Like, legit, they control prenups in court. Like, literally, the
Yeah.
lawyer can be like, like, the court can really be like, nah. Like, nah, we don't care.
I
Split
think
it.
adultery makes a prenup null.
No.
And it's certain, like, they can, like, literally, the judge can decide, we don't care about the prenup.
But that's
no more.
all because
That's
of
the thing.
circumstances. It's not just because he decides. So
And the thing is, you can make the
But it's
conditions
like a
of your
wide,
prenup.
it's a wide range. Like, they really, it's like,
it's not one thing, it's a lot
The thing
of
about
things
it is that
can be avoided.
adultery is point blank period. It makes a prenup null and void. But in court, it's hard to prove.
That's another thing where it's like you in a like let's just say not even like your husband's a breadwinner, like you're making like probably the same amount of paper, but then life is just easier because of the
Two
various
incomes.
amount of things that you all said, and then now your husband out here making you look like a puppy show, and
They
you
get it
forced
off,
to
but
stay
no.
in this thing. Now it wrecks your mental health because you see like boy I want to divorce this man, but like boy all the loans and
All the
taxes and
loans,
yeah,
the taxes, everything
and then
split
like
on
just
the-
hiring a lawyer. A divorce lawyer, all that.
And
It's
then
just
And then your four kids, their children.
The children too,
Yeah,
like,
children get
He's like, you might be so deeply invested.
like,
So, but that can happen outside of
Not for
marriage
the
too.
not for the toxic aspect of it, because some marriages are genuinely unhealthy and need to be dissolved. But like, don't you think marriage also, like in a relationship, if you're feeling somebody, you can just be like, you know what, I don't want to be in this relationship no more. And it's easy to just dissolve it that way. But don't you think marriage gives you more of an obligation? Maybe if it gives you a chance to look past this issue right now because you swore to stay with this person
So you
for
have to
life. So now you have to look past like some things.
Can I
people
just
take
address
for
the
granted.
double-edged sword?
What's the line?
Let me
Like,
just address the
how much
double-edged
things-
sword.
Yeah.
So the same
Yeah.
way, it's like I feel like it'll help a lot of marriages, like because it gives people the long-term aspect. But at the same time, suppose the relationship is toxic. Suppose
Right.
like domestic abuse is be going on. I mean, this girl, she would have
But
got
that
hit from
means
like
respect is no longer a part of the marriage, and that's where I would say.
I mean, but then like.
divorce.
My next thing with that is, right, I feel as though it's still people though. Like generally, if you really care about someone's marriage or not, you can decide to work through whatever you can work with and stay with them.
Yeah.
I feel as though you can't just say, oh, marriage is like, well, because we have this extra shackle on you, that should
Yeah.
encourage you. I feel like it's still a personal
Yeah,
thing.
that's what it sounds
No,
like.
that was my idea, like to say, it's tying you down even more, like something the way you down even more, to say, like, I should fight harder for this. I
yeah,
just say,
if you
like,
need something to make you fight harder.
even harder, like that means you as a person still in like that strong, like you not connected to the person. You know what I mean? That you need something else as a buffer to shield you down.
Like if you really love that
But
person, that love
regardless
should
of
be
those two
I
lives.
feel like the way you're looking at marriage is from a divorce perspective.
Yes,
that is,
all I've heard
that
so
is
far
a wall of
is
resistance.
divorce is divorce.
Whereas where the women are looking, well, I don't want to speak so much for y'all.
If I could ask, what would be the merits of a marriage for you guys?
The merits of a marriage, I can't list it.
I can be honest.
I, the only merit I
Besides,
can
like,
think
tax
of
reasons,
is
whatever.
being able to raise my child with my wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I feel
Having a
it's good to
family.
see two people at the same
Like,
time.
Can
creation
y'all
of a
see
family.
yourself with a woman long term? Like think about it right now.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
And you can see yourself working through issues, communicating through issues long term.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
can't see yourself
Committing
committing
full
to that
legal
legally because
obligation.
Hold on. Like, I'm pretty sure businesses don't just join a merger without fully doing like full research on the other company.
We're not saying
Like,
you meet
I'm trying to
yesterday.
show you
And
this
you
thing.
sign the paper
No,
tomorrow.
who gets married? Like what are you talking about?
But that's what I'm trying to say. You know how long the contract is? It's not for 5 years, it's not for 1 year, it's not for 2 years. It's supposed to go on forever. So the gravity of this contract seems like you undermining it just a tad. Like You saying we can't see ourselves marrying somebody? I mean, it's plausible, right? But you know how much things like I would have to go through that I'm not there yet mentally, like
No one means
not
today,
even financially.
I don't mean
I can ask you
no
all
or
this
today.
question right quick.
I just meant like eventually, if you can see yourself being with somebody for the rest of your life, if that's something that you can see yourself doing, no one's mean like tomorrow you're going to get married. Just eventually, if you can see that happening.
I guess in a perfect world where everything goes right, yes.
All right, folks.
So how long y'all think like y'all could be in a relationship with your man and then he have to propose to you, or you feel as though like what is
I'm not gonna apply a limit on him for
That's a
that.
good question.
That's so funny
That's
because
a great question.
for me, I told my boyfriend we've been together 3 years now, and I told him like around 5 to 7 years, if I feel like you can't see yourself marrying me. If you can't see yourself marrying me within 5 to 7 years, why are we still together? What more do you need to know? What more do you need to know
screaming
about
louder
me?
you need?
Just a
You
quick
already heard all
segue
of this.
for
Let me finish. I'm asking this question now. How long do we need to be together? 5 to 7 years. What don't you know about me within 5 to 7 years that you can't say, yeah, I can see myself?
Anybody know how long you need to be together to be known as common law union without official marriage? Like
In Canada,
Yeah.
1 year.
What?
No,
It's 1 year.
no,
Hold on.
Get the Google up.
no, it's not 1 year.
Or is it 2? It's not that
While
long.
we Googling, let me ask you all a
Because I
question.
thought it was like 7.
No, I think that's whom. I know
Yeah.
whom is 10 years.
10 years from now,
Yeah,
the 4 you young ladies aren't married.
I'll be 36.
You are married,
All right.
are not married.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you consider that a failure?